Hey guys, in my previous video, I was talking about how to learn a language more effectively, and in this video tape, I'll tell you how to avoid common mistakes on the way. So, without further ado, first no-no is tutors, and especially the ones who speak your native language or try to get you to learn grammar through memorizing the rules. Now, don't get me wrong, some tutors are good, but the reason I quit going to them is simply because I no longer trust them. Here's why. When I used to have a tutor, it felt like I was progressing too slow and we were learning relatively unnecessary words. Now, words like airport, international, radio, TV, football, etc. are important, but these are internationalisms. We most likely use them also in our native language. Let's just speak, Icelandic or English. But what mostly got me frustrated was that all my personal preferences fell on deaf ears. So most of tutors stick to their program and aren't creative enough to make it feel like an exciting journey rather than studying. Besides, my learning goal was not getting taught, but rather guided. I'd learn a foreign language on my own, and of course, I'd have a lot of questions on the way. And if I had these questions answered, I would remember the answer, and you are more likely going to remember it since you've already strived and invested your time to find it out. Let's think logically. What if we put aside all those mainstream languages like French and Spanish and assume for a second that you want to learn a rare indigenous language that is spoken by a handful of people out in a remote region of Brazil, and not only do they not have tutors or grammar books, but they barely have any clothes. So, is there any way to learn their language? Well, seems like the most obvious way to do it would be through immersion by interacting with the natives. Alright, second way you should not learn a language is well-known Duolingo. Yeah, I'm talking about that nasty bird that goes into eating your in-laws. Maybe they should change it to Triolingo since you're unlocking the tree and not frying an owl. Now, I've seen a lot of people using it, but that kind of made me think that they don't really know if the app is helpful at all. They simply conform. It works like this. I saw my friend using it, and his girlfriend uses it too, and my teacher's dog also has a full French tree unlocked. But this begs a question. Why do they still not speak any languages but their own? Well, that's pretty simple. Let's do some math. According to Duolingo, you need like 15 minutes a day to learn a language. According to the FSI, it takes approximately 750 classroom hours to learn German. According to my dog, you can get along with a single bark. So, 15 minutes a day amounts to around 8 hours a month, 96 hours a year, which makes up to 8 years. 8 years, Carl. Now, if you, in theory, learn it for 10 hours a day instead, which is insane, I know, then you get 300 hours a month, meaning you can master German in about 2.5 months. 2.5 months. Yeah, swap your lame owl speed for an insane eagle one. So, why not 15 minutes a day? Well, that's because you're learning a language for a reason, right? And whatever it is, I'm sure 8 years is damn too long to reach your short-term goal. And if you don't have one, no wonder you still don't speak your Deutsch. And just for the record, goal is not to learn a language. It has to be more specific. I don't just read books. I read some specific genre. Which is our next no-no, to learn a language just for fun. It's totally fine if you, as a language enthusiast, just want to get your head around a bunch of cool languages, but we agreed that our target is to learn a language. Right? Like, if you intend to have something serious with a girl you like, you can't just keep exchanging messages back and forth without getting it all to the next level. Otherwise, you're just friends. So I bet you haven't determined for yourself how well you want to speak your target language. Just a quick story as an example. Once I was in the library, back when the internet wasn't a thing, which kind of makes me old, and I picked a book in German when an old man next to me, he must be dead by now, looked at me and said, "I also used to learn German, but unfortunately I don't speak it." And I replied without looking up from the book, "Well, probably because you never intended to." The old man didn't say a word. And our next no-no is learning 10, 15, or 20 languages at a time. When I used to register on the apps like Tandem, I noticed that a lot of folks really like to mark on their profile that they were learning tons of languages like Finnish, Mongolian, Cree, Zulu, Emoji, Arabic, Kurdish, Turkish, French Chinese, and whatnot. Now, I've done this too, and I gotta tell you, it's really very tempting to immediately jump into learning French after hearing some awesome song on Spotify. So trust me, you'll never go through the hardship of language learning only because you heard a song and you enjoyed it. Been there, done that. Now, there's also this very popular way of learning languages when on the internet they advise you to memorize all the ready phrases absolutely out of context, and especially as a beginner, and then try to use them to strike up a conversation from the day one. I call it a parrot mode, since you have a foggy notion of what you're talking about. See if it works at all. All right, I'm tired. I gotta go to the shop.